There it is. Yay! Go. Oh, that's fun. Let's see. You cannot. Okay. How about I do this? I am going to share my screen. Good morning, you guys. We have been talking so much about all the election stuff, and I know that it can be a little bit intimidating, but fear not, I got you. Don't worry. Today, we are going to kind of look back at how these candidates got to where they are. We're going to figure out how does one become a president? Like, what is that process? So let's take a look. Yay, yay, yay. I'm so excited. Go away, Miss Connor. There you are. All right. You guys, where information is power and kindness is key, it is now time for Town Hall Tea. Wah, wah. How's that go? Yeah, yeah. I need this thing to go away. Awesome. I'm so excited you guys are here for our activity today. Let me see if I can toggle through. There it is. Just a reminder, our commitment to each other is that we will be keeping all conversations positive, helpful, and kind. No trash talk or derogatory comments will be tolerated. Derogatory meaning talking down to someone about their beliefs and their ideas, because those are theirs. And each of you is entitled to your own values and ideals. And so we're going to respect those for each other because we're awesome. So today we are talking about how to become the president of the United States. Where do these people begin? A lot of times politicians start out as like lawyers when we go to law school, but I feel like as the years progress, we have people who are coming out of different walks of life, business leaders, just all different walks of life who want to make a difference. And so this would be the process that everybody has to go through. So your first step is to make sure you qualify. You have to be 35 years old at least. So you guys are a little too young. I'm super sorry. Your teachers could run though. You guys look at your teachers and say, you guys should run for president. And they all go, no, I don't think so. You have to be a natural born citizen of the United States. Now, that doesn't mean that if you were born in Japan because your parents were in the Air Force, that's not what that means. It means that you are a citizen when you are born. So I cannot be a Canadian citizen and migrate to America and then become president. I have to be born here in order for that to happen. And you have to have lived here in the United States for 14 years, at least. And so that kind of knocks some people out of contention because of where they either choose to live or where they were born. If you check all those boxes, then you need to decide on your platform. We have been talking about how the platform is like the vision for America, and that's the most important part. Personality shouldn't be important, gender, skin color, none of that stuff should be important. It should be about your vision for America. And so some things that you might want to think about if you decide to run for president is, how are you going to help all of the people in the United States? Everybody in the United States, you would have to be thinking about ways that you could help their lives be better. What are your core beliefs? What do you believe in your heart about maybe your rights as an American or the rights of somebody who comes to this country from somewhere else? Thinking about what you believe is going to be important to finding your platform. You want to get a good team around you. Who are some other people who could help you? Maybe they don't want to run for president, but they want to help you to get there so that you can help make a difference. How are you going to meet the needs of all of these people? What even are their needs? Like, you're going to have to go talk to people and see where they live and see what their situation is and what hands they need to help them get to where they need to be. Oh, and look, there's a little typo. What are your feelings, son? That should be feelings on current events. My bad, sorry. So current events are things that are happening in the news that people will debate and not agree on. And so you need to decide what your stance is and get really well informed, because people are going to ask you a ton of questions. And so you need to know what you believe and why. Kind of complicated. Okay, so you have decided on your platform, but there's lots of other people who are wanting to be president also. And so the next part of the process is called a primary or a caucus. They're the same thing, they're just called two different things. So all the Republicans kind of get together and they start debating and they start getting their name out there and they raise money and they try to convince voters. And so at this point in the race, it's all the Republicans against all the Republicans, because we need to choose one. And then it's all the Democrats against all the Democrats, because we need to choose one. And the way that we choose is through polling, which is kind of little votes. And so they'll hire people to call your house and be like, hello, who do you support for president? And you hang up on them because you don't answer calls like that. Just kidding, sort of. Online polls, they're watching what people are thinking around the country. And then some people, if they don't get enough support, will kind of drop out of the race because they know they can't. At that point, they can't win. But the primary season is really intense because you're fighting against the people who are kind of your friends, like people who believe similar things as you, and you're all kind of trying to scramble to the top. So it can be not fun. But for voters, it's an important activity so that we know who's running and whose ideals we align with. So this is an interesting, I thought it was an interesting graphic because it shows up at the top the Republican people who tried to run for president with Donald Trump this year. So all of the Republicans together. You might recognize this name. I don't know if you can see my pointer, but Heard is actually related by marriage to Miss Heard, and he was running for president. He actually came and picked up the girls the other day, and I got to say hi to him because I'm a politician nerd. All of these people have since dropped out. You'll see that they're all in gray. Now, this is an old graphic because at the time we had 3 people still in the running for the Democratic Party, and that has changed. I'm going to click and hope that my cute little graphics show up. No, they didn't. Boo. Boo to that. Let's see, can I do this? Oh, yes. Okay. So President Biden, who is our current president, he had dropped out of the race. He was planning on running again against Donald Trump. And because of his health, he decided to step back. And so the person that has stepped forward is the vice president, current vice president, Kamala Harris. And so she is the only person running for the Democrat Party. Williamson and Uyghur are no longer running. And if you look all the way to the right in the independent category, Robert Kennedy Jr. recently left the race for independent, and he joined forces with former President Donald Trump because he has a vision for America, and he thinks that former President Trump can help him to make America healthy again. That's what he's saying. So he wants to limit pesticides and chemicals in our food, and he wants to help kids be more healthy. And so he felt like his best chance was by joining forces with former President Trump. Now, West and Stein are both technically still in the race, but they are polling very, very small numbers. And so I think mostly what they try to do is just kind of get their ideas out there because they want to be heard also. Yeah. Okay. So the next thing that happens after we pick our one Republican, our one Democrat, is we have these national conventions. Guys, this is like a party. Look at that. Look at all the balloons. There's music and people are cheering and they dress up and wear weird hats. I don't know anybody like that. I think I would be right at home in a national convention. What is a national convention for? So we get speakers to like pump up the party about what we believe, and everybody's like woo woo woo, they're so excited. And then all the so there are people from each state who represent their state and they have a certain number of votes, and the idea is each state will put their votes towards somebody who they want to be the nominee. Now we already know who our nominee is. We know that Trump is for the Republicans. We know that Harris is for the Democrats, but they still had to go through this process of collecting all of these delegate votes. I even looked up how to become a delegate. It's not going to work out for me, but maybe one of you guys could be a delegate someday. And then in theory, the person who gets the most delegate votes at the convention becomes our nominee. Nowadays, our conventions we've already decided who our candidate is, and so really it's just a pep rally. It's just a party. I want to show you a couple of clips. Now, before I start this, let me unshare for just a second. So what I'm about to show you is fiction. Okay, it's from a show that I love called The West Wing back in like the 90s. And the West Wing was all about politics. The West Wing is where the president lives, and so that's why it's called the West Wing. And so I love this show. And in the later seasons, they had some clips of a Democratic National Convention. So the person we're going to hear speaking is a Democrat on the show. That's who they are. And the first clip is behind the scenes of the convention. They're trying to get all of those delegate votes. And I want you to see behind the scenes how crazy it is. And then I'm going to show you what the public sees. So let me share this one more time. See if I can get this going here. Clip one.
Well, that's not going to happen.
Mr. Chairman,
no, absolutely not.
I understand that Baker is not going to do what Matt Santos is going to do.
I have been in Illinois 10 times in the last 2 months. Can Bob Russell say
Baker
that?
got Massachusetts. Promise that. And you are not going to be left at the altar. You're going to be wearing satin at the Elvis Chapel. Yes.
Okay.
You won't regret it, and you won't regret it. No, you won't. I promise. We still have New Jersey. New Mexico's okay for now.
Tennessee's leaning Baker, but Russell's working him hard. What about New York?
It's going Baker for sure.
I could go Tandy.
Tandy isn't running it. Ernie Gambelli is.
Who's Gambelli?
With the teachers union.
Oh,
North Carolina?
Somebody get me Pete Collins.
Mr. Secretary, New York cast 284 votes for Governor Eric Baker.
Do you see that guy's hat? That hat. I'm wearing the same hat as the guy in the crowd. I think I belong there with my people, with my crazy politician people. Anyway, so that's just to show you like the craziness behind the scene, because they're trying to get these delegate votes. In this episode, they don't have a nominee yet, and they're trying to get all the votes so that their person can be the nominee. Fast forward, they try to talk that one of those guys that you were seeing, they try to talk him into leaving the race. Because it's kind of causing a spectacle, and people didn't like the spectacle. And so the next clip I'm going to show you is of this person's speech in front of all those delegates. And this is what a national convention looks like to us, the observer. We don't see all that stuff in the back, but this is what it looks like to us. So let me show you just a real quick glimpse of what happens. Let me see, escape this. Here we go. There it is.
Delegates. That's right, it's not. You have a decision to make. Don't vote for us because you think we're perfect. Don't vote for us because of what we might be able to do for you only. Vote for the person who shares your ideals, your hopes, your dreams. Vote for the person person who most embodies what you believe we need to keep our nation strong and free. And when you have done that, you can go back to Seattle and Boston, to Miami, to Tulsa, Chicago, and Atlanta with your head held high and say, I'm a member of a Democratic Party.
So that is what we see. We see them getting pumped up and we're like, oh, that's my person. I want to rally behind them and he's going to be the president. And so the national conventions are where it's a very, very important part of the process. And we don't have, usually we go into the convention knowing exactly who we want nowadays, but it's really just to get people fired up and excited about the election. All right, let's head back to our other screen. Let me see if I can get, yes. Almost done, you guys. I have an activity for you today that has a prize involved. You heard me, a prize. Okay, let's skip this one. And then we did this one. Okay, so now we've been through the primary caucus situation. We have run against all of our people. We went through the convention and we picked our one person. And so next time we have Town Hall T, we're going to talk about how you win the election, because it might not be what you think it is. Okay. Today, for your task, you have a trivia activity in Schoology. And I'm going to head over to Schoology to show you. Here we go. I picked Miss Santallanes' 5th grade class. Let me see, hear you say, what? Yes. So we're going to head over to the Town Hall T resources, and there is a link called Presidential Trivia. Let's take a quick look at that. In the trivia, you can work alone or with a group of friends to answer these questions, and you're going to earn points for correct questions. So when it says who is filling this out, I want you to list everybody who's working in your group. If it's by yourself, it's just you. Pick your teacher. I don't want any more than 4 people per group. Please, that gets a little crazy. Your teacher is allowed to give you more strict instructions and guidelines based on their expectations of your behavior. So if they want you to do this independently, then you're doing it independently. Done. End of story. Okay, so these are trivia questions from history about actual presidents. Which former president was the first to install a bathtub with running water in the White House? Who was the first former president to be born in a hospital? That wasn't always a thing, you guys. So let's see. So in a minute, you're going to, in a very orderly and calm manner, retrieve your Chromebook. This is not a timed activity, but I am going to see who has the most points, probably around lunchtime. There is a small prize involved. Small, chill, it's a small prize. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys are able to discover about former presidents. I cannot wait to see you on the next Town Hall Tea, and I hope all of you have the very best, most wonderful Wednesday that you can have. I'll see y'all later. Bye. Thanks, Miss Rose's class.